Bryan, we have to change podcast distributors right away.
Why do we need to do this?
Well, we've been paying our own money out of our own pockets to distribute our podcast. I found a place that does it for free.
Okay, tell me all about this, please.
Dude, it's Anchor. Anchor. Dude, they have creation tools that allow us to record and enter our podcast right from our phone or computer. They'll distribute our podcast for us to all the major podcast platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Best part of it, dude, it's free. And for any other podcasters out there, if you switch to Anchor, you can start making money right away. All you got to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
This episode is brought to you by the Slash and Cast Podcast Network. Learn more at slashandcast.net.
Hello, you. Yes, you. The one I'm looking at right now. You like scary movies? Well, if you do, you're in the right place. You've joined the Dead in Santa Carla podcast with Bryan and Andy. Shouldn't that be Undead in Santa Carla? Well, Bryan and Andy are just a couple lost boys, aren't they? Or they will be when I'm through. Enjoy the show while you can.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Dead in Santa Carla, part of the Slash and Cast Podcast Network. I'm Bryan.
And I am Andy.
Oh, man. Bonus episode.
Yeah, bonus for Sequel September. The last day of Sequel September.
we should do like a wah, wah, wah type of
Yep.
Yep. So, yeah, maybe I'll find something. Maybe. But yeah, guys, bonus episode, Sequel September, fits the vibe. Andy and I, this was your idea, right? You thought of this format, right?
Sure, I think so.
Yeah, I think you did. And we're basically, I think we're going to try and do this pretty regularly. Top 5, bottom 5. We're going to talk about the top 5, what we feel like, personal favorites are, the top 5 horror sequels. And then we're going to talk about what we think are the worst 5 horror sequels also. And we've each made our own lists. So I've picked, 10 movies. He's picked 10 movies. And we're gonna go over there. We tried to limit it to like one for franchise. And for the most part I did. But it wasn't like a rule. Like we didn't have to do that. Yeah, it was just kind of a thing.
Yeah, for one of my top and bottoms list, I do have 2 from one franchise, just because there's just again, like how we were doing this is, not what we necessarily think from like a technical film standpoint, what is the best and what is the worst, just what our favorites are and what our least favorites are,
Yeah.
So, just one of these lists, there was just no way I could leave this movie off.
Right,
I would be doing what we're doing a disservice by being dishonest and not putting it on. It would.
Yeah. Oh man!
But
right, so we're gonna start with the best, right?
Yeah, let's start with the top 5.
Okay,
starting from the bottom. Yeah, I'm excited. This is kind of exciting. So you went with this with the same criteria, right? Your
pretty
favorite,
much,
right?
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. It's like but yeah, basic what I find to be my favorite sequels.
I can't wait to hear this list. I can't wait. We'll go one by one. We'll start with 5, and then we'll each you go first. What you got? Okay. Number 5 top sequel. Number 5.
Yeah, my number 5. What best sequel is Evil Dead 2.
That is a good one, my friend.
And I like it because it basically Evil Dead 1 is a fun movie. Obviously, it's a fun movie, but it's unintentionally fun. Like they were really trying to make a genuine scary movie. So the tongue in cheek and everything, that's kind of by accident. You know, that was just a bunch of inexperienced filmmakers trying to make a legitimate horror movie. And while it's a good movie, there's a lot of stuff that's accidentally good in it. Right. But Evil Dead 2, they basically took what they had unintentionally established and ran with it. And that's where they realized this is what we fucking have. And they harnessed that and they made it even better. You know, I mean, because basically Evil Dead 2 is almost just telling of Evil Dead 1. I mean, yeah, it is a sequel, but how fucking fun is that movie, man? It's just a blast.
You nailed it. They elevated. Listen, at the end of the day, if you can, it's hard to top a sequel, but if you can elevate it, all power to you. And in this case, they did.
Exactly.
And I think most horror fans would agree. They elevated what they did in Evil Dead 1 to Evil Dead 2 without a doubt.
Exactly.
I mean, you talk to a lot of horror fans. They consider this the best sequel of all time, and I honestly don't blame them. I don't blame them.
I don't blame them either. Yeah,
I thoroughly enjoy this movie. We talked about it in episode 4, I think.
Yeah, we talked about it pretty early.
Yeah, episode 4, I think we talked about it. Yeah, man, that's a good. So that's your number 5. I like it. That's a good.
That's
one,
my number 5, buddy.
I like it.
Okay, what's your number 5, man?
I'm Army of Darkness. We're gonna stick with the same franchise.
Oh, that's great. We're staying in the same franchise. I love it. That's so fun.
Yeah, Army of Darkness. We just covered this little like last week. I pretty much explained that this is my favorite in the Evil Dead franchise. And not only is it my favorite in the Evil Dead franchise, it's one of my favorite sequels of all time. It really is. Again, in my eyes, what they did in Evil Dead 2, where they elevated from Evil Dead 1, for my own personal opinion and my own personal entertainment, I feel that the Ash character is even elevated even more in Army of Darkness. And we talked about that in the episode. So for me, that's why it's my favorite in the series. And that's why it's one of my favorite sequels of all time. I think the important thing with sequels, man, we've talked about this before. It's important to if you're going to bring back, you want to bring back continuity with same characters. But but when you do that, you have to have more character development with those characters. You have to expand on that. I mean, think about it. Like a good example is even just Halloween from Halloween 2018. The revolution of the Laurie Strode character, right? It's a big character development, and that's why I like Halloween. It's one of the main reasons I like Halloween 2018 so much is that character development of Laurie Strode. And Army of Darkness is no exception. That is why.
There you go.
Is exactly why.
Yeah.
I like this movie so much, and why it is my favorite in this franchise, being the Evil Dead franchise, is the development of this character Ash. Because to me, this is as great as he is and beloved in Evil Dead 2. For me, this is peak rock star icon Ash in our
Hell yeah.
Number 5, baby.
That's good. I like that.
We both had an Evil Dead.
That's so funny. That is too funny. Yeah. And you know, to piggyback on what you even said, it's like, and I agree with you how great Army of Darkness even is. Yeah. And because of all of that, so like shit, man. On any day, golly, the differences between Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness for me are marginal at best.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a good choice, man. I like it. Hell yeah, buddy.
Right on. Who you got at number 4, buddy?
I have at number 4 Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Fuck yes. We're talking about that in October, babe. We're talking about that.
We are. I can't wait to talk about that too. Yeah, this is my favorite. This is my personal favorite chainsaw movie out of all the chainsaw movies. Yep. And why I love this movie so much is because Tobe Hooper had the wherewithal to realize that he wasn't going to be able to capture lightning in a bottle twice.
Right.
Because let's face it, 74 is when Chainsaw dropped, right? 10 years later, he's not an idiot, man. This guy's like, dude, I'm not going to be able to make another Chainsaw movie. And so what did he do? He was like, man, we're going to make this motherfucker a dark comedy. And he went balls to the wall crazy with it. And it's so fucking fun, dude. Chainsaw 2 is a blast to watch from beginning to end. It is. It's hilarious. Does all the humor hit? No, it doesn't all hit. But a big ass chunk of it does, man.
Well, I remember reading something, or it might have been an interview with Toby Hooper. The original Chainsaw, he envisioned it more like what part 2 turned out to be. Maybe not quite as extreme and over the top as 2 is. But the way part 1 actually ended up playing out was not his original vision at all.
No, it was not. You're right. Yeah,
it wasn't.
Yeah, he had initially wanted it to basically be a dark comedy.
Exactly.
But the problem was like a lot of people didn't get it. Like they just didn't get it. I think it was maybe a little ahead of its time, you know. When
totally.
But and also he was a young filmmaker. I think he only made one other feature at that time. I think because he only directed one other movie. So yeah, I mean, but this time I think he got it. I fucking love Chainsaw 2. I think it's bonkers.
You know,
fun.
I do
it's
too.
Super awesome.
I'm looking forward to talking about it in a couple weeks with RJ, the movie critic. He's going to come on.
Oh, that's going to be so fun. I can't wait.
RJ actually saw this in the theater. I remember him talking about that when.
Oh man, that would have been great.
It's pretty funny. But
I think I was 8.
I'm with you. I know some fans of the franchise don't like this entry, and I get it. I could imagine, like, because it's just so different from the first one. And usually when a franchise deviates too much, I usually do not like it. But this is the exception because it is. Toby actually got to kind of make the movie he kind of originally wanted to make anyway. Yeah. And he accidentally made a fucking all-time classic with the first one. I mean, literally, in most horror fans' top 5, you're probably going to see the original Texas Chainsaw in there. A lot of horror fans. A lot of them, it's their favorite. It's not my favorite of all time, but I do consider it probably. To me, it's a top 2 horror film of all time. The original, at least, the top 2. But I do enjoy the second one a lot, actually. The humor works for me. The dark comedy works. The Sawyers are great. They're funny. I'm all about Bill Moseley, like, is incredible as Chop Top.
Great. Yeah, Chop
He's
Top.
Incredible.
Hell yeah, man.
Yes. So there's a lot to like in this movie for me personally. And one thing I've kind of realized, I don't think I ever truly realized this until we started doing this podcast. I definitely like horror comedies I like horror comedies more than the average horror fan. Okay. I think that's a thing. I think I enjoy them more for sure.
Would you say you enjoy them more than you thought you did?
No, it's not. It's not that. It's just, maybe it's just that I never realized it, how much I actually do enjoy horror comedies. But when you really think about it, I do. The Child's Play franchise, I'm a huge fan of that. I even like the fucking Leprechaun franchise, for fuck's sakes. I loved, like, the Zombielands. I love Shaun of the Dead. I love Texas 2. So I am a fan of even, like, there's been some recent ones, like The Babysitter, and then what's the Happy Death Day? That's another one. Ready or Not. I really like horror I do. So yeah, having this realization of this, I never really realized it until I did this podcast. I do believe because I feel like a lot of these horror comedies that I do like, I know some hardcore horror fans don't like them. I know. Right. Yeah. I mean, like, you, even yourself, you're not like a huge fan of the Chucky franchise like me.
Not a huge fan, no.
Right. And how do you feel about horror comedies? Like, are you?
I love horror comedies. Yeah, I do. I love horror comedies. I think the juxtaposition between the two emotions, it works really well when it's done.
They
right,
do. I think it's peanut butter and jelly, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think I agree too. Yep. All right, man. So that's
your number 4.
Buddy.
No, that's a good one, dude.
So what's your number 4, man?
My number 4 was Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Oh God, that's such a good.
Yeah, dude. Okay, we talked about this one too. I forget the episode number, somewhere in the 20s, I think. this to me, and I beat it like a dead horse in the episode. If you haven't listened to the new Nightmare episode, definitely go back and check it out. It's a good episode. I appreciate the shit out of this movie because to me, this is one of the most clever scripts of any horror sequel ever. Actually, I will just say, I think this is the most clever horror sequel script ever.
Okay.
I do. I'm that. I don't think it's the best, but I think it's the most clever and one of the most original, especially if you're talking about reinventing a franchise, which is not easy to do. I just thought that I just think the idea of the meta approach where all the actors and filmmakers from the original Nightmares franchise are playing themselves. Wes Craven's playing himself. Bob Shea makes it. Heather Langenkamp is playing Heather Langenkamp. I just thought that whole dynamic was super cool and super brilliant. And honestly, this is before Scream. So Wes was doing this meta shit before Scream. So it's like, I just have a lot of admiration for the story. And again, you've heard me tell before. I think Wes is just a brilliant screenwriter. He was a brilliant screenwriter. I think he was a really great director too, but I think his biggest strength was I really do believe that's just my opinion. I think he was such a strong screenwriter. And this does what sequels should try to do. All sequels should try to bring back continuity if they can, but if you're going to try to reinvent it, like that's like to try to bring back continuity and reinvent the franchise that's like an impossible task. But Wes somehow pulls it off with this brilliant script. It's crazy when you think about it. He completely reinvents the franchise, but brings back major characters, like kind of the same characters and continuity that we love from the originals. So it's right. I love this movie. You like this movie too?
Oh, I love this movie. Yeah, it's fantastic. I think that it's ballsy. It's super ballsy. It was super ambitious. I don't think people, the typical audience, quite appreciated it at the time. Critics ate it up. They got it. It's an intelligent movie, and it's if it makes you look at the franchise through a different set of eyes, and you're right. It still hits all those things that you want to do when you're making a successful sequel, because you still want to bring back familiarity, and it does it in a super unique way. This is arguably, and of course it's on the list, so it's one of the greatest horror sequels ever made.
It is. I just think it is just how brilliant the story is and how brilliant the script is. I just think it's just a very original idea, and somehow Wes made it work, and it totally does work. Because I mean, like, you read this script, it's like, man, this sounds pretty cool, but how the fuck are you going to shoot this and sell this?
Right.
And
that's,
he pulls it off.
Yeah, he does. And it goes back to what you were saying, how strong he is as a screenwriter. And another one of his strengths, and I think he's even better at this than as he is a director, which he's a fantastic director, obviously. Screenwriting, but he's also a storyteller.
Yeah,
and that rings very strongly in this movie because it's so unique, super clever, and way ahead of its time.
It is.
Yeah, fantastic choice, buddy. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about this movie. You just nailed it. It was ahead of its time, for sure.
Way, yeah. Well, not way. Maybe a year.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that.
I'll even be honest. Like, I even think this is as much as I think this is almost as clever script as Scream. I really do. I think
it's more clever. I think it's a more clever script.
I think it's more original. It's definitely more original. Okay. It's a different circumstance because Scream is, Scream was its first movie. It was a standalone movie.
That's true.
This was the seventh entry in the franchise. So just to think about that in a seventh entry, that you bring back the original creator and he comes up with something this creative and this good. Like, here's another thing. Like, usually if sequels get this high, like 5, 6, 7, 8, they really start to fall off. And you know, a little bit, you know, they slip a little bit. Like, I like Friday 7 and whatnot, but like Friday 7's I don't think it's nowhere near as good as New Nightmare. Especially, I mean, just from a filmmaking standpoint, it's nowhere near as good.
Mm-hmm.
But like a 7th entry in a franchise has no business being this clever and brilliant. It really doesn't.
Right.
It has no, and I just give mad props to Wes. Yeah, that's my number 4, man. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. What do you got at number 3, bud?
What I have at number 3 is Halloween 2018.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yes. We talked about this. We did a whole episode talking about this because we did it on the anniversary for its 1-year anniversary.
Episode 2 of the Dead
Episode
in Santa Carla
2,
podcast.
yeah.
Halloween 2018.
Yeah, this is why I have this on my list, other than the fact that I thoroughly enjoy it, which is obviously part of the criteria. But what it did for steadying and righting a sinking ship, because let's face it, the franchise was not in a great place.
No.
It barely survived Halloween Resurrection. Rob Zombie rebooted it and had some small success with the first movie, but the second one's pretty bad. Yeah. So immediately, just after one film, you know, he got one passable film out of the way, and immediately it's already back in the shitter. So that sucks. But thankfully, the rights left Dimension and Miramax finally, and they were able to be picked up by somebody that gave a shit about the franchise. And they put they brought some people in that cared, that put a lot of love into it, and then they said, you know what? How are we gonna strip this down from all the horrible entries that we had, and how are we gonna make a successful film? Well, what we're gonna do, we're going to start as close to the beginning as we possibly can. So they just completely ignored all of the extra shit. And that was so smart and ballsy, because a lot of people fell in love with characters that were established in that franchise. Like, they're dude, Jamie Lloyd fans, crazy, man. They love Jamie Lloyd. And what's not to love?'s a good character.
Sure.
He's easily the bright spot in 4, 5, and 6. That character, not portrayed as well in part 6, you know, as we got in part 4 and 5. But I mean, she's the only redeeming thing in part 5 for me. You know how I feel. Oh, easy, easily. Yeah. So we got them. They had to strip away all of the, and there was some good stuff, because even with some of the less favorable entries, there was good things. You know, but they retconned everything, paid homage to certain highlights of some of the other movies, and just stripped it down and said, you know what, we're gonna make a basic slasher stalker movie. Yep, that's what they did, and it's effective as hell. I mean, we're getting 2 sequels, and it made a shitload of money. Did it ever?
No, I love the route. I agree and love the route that they took with just, you know, it's a direct sequel 40 years later to the original. I think that was a good way to go about it. Start fresh, and again, I know some fans didn't like this portrayal, but I'm sorry, I loved it. I loved the evolution and character development of Laurie Strode in this.
I do too. Yeah.
Now let me ask you this: we just talked about Resurrection a couple days ago. Like, this is the type of character development and the type of this is how I envision Laurie being. This is believable. In Resurrection, when she's just a dummy and gets killed, like, no, that's not Laurie. Like, can you imagine if that was the last we had seen of Jamie Lee Curtis ever playing Laurie Strode, and we never got this? Like, can you imagine that this character development and this evolution of Laurie Strode in Halloween 2018 didn't exist, and all we had to remember her by the last thing we remember her is fucking just being a complete dumb final, she went from being the greatest final girl of all time to just a complete buffoon.
She went, right, what you said, but greatest final girl of all time to Wile E. Coyote trying to catch the Roadrunner.
Yeah. So, no, I'm with you. Like, actually, I have 3 honorable mention that I was going to say after we do our top 5. This is actually one of my honorable mention. I have 3 honorable mentions because I just love so many movies. I had to put 3.
Yeah.
I love too many movies. I can't help it. But yeah, this is one of my honorable mentions as well. It almost, if I didn't put New Nightmare in there, it would have got in.
Okay.
It would have got in. Yeah.
All right. What's your number 3 then?
My number 3 is James Cameron's Aliens.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's awesome. Okay. I like it.
Yeah. And I know this is the action movie Aliens, but I don't give a shit. It's still scary and suspenseful.
Why not? Yeah.
No, we haven't even talked about this movie yet, and we will someday. We've talked about the first one, and I love Alien. I think it's it's sci-fi horror royalty with obviously.
That's a slasher movie, man.
I do slightly prefer Aliens over the original Alien. It's slight. It's close. It's close because
you're not alone in that. You're not. There's no way you're alone. Yeah.
I'm definitely not. They have 2 completely different tones to them. They do. There's 2. It's a little bit of the same tone, but it's a different tone. You can tell this is a James Cameron movie, but for all the good reasons, and not the And I just really enjoy the characters in this. I think this is
great
characters. Bill Paxton. Game over, man. Game over.
Yeah.
It's one of the greatest. It's one of my favorite lines of any movie ever. And this is where Ripley really fucking. She ain't hiding no more. You know what I'm saying? She ain't hiding no suit no more. Trying to avoid. She
goes full badass mode in there.
Yes.
Absolutely.
This is where she becomes, in my opinion. She's probably, she doesn't get mentioned as a final girl much, but she really should be. Honestly, she's right there with Laurie Strode and Nancy Thompson and Sidney Prescott. Honestly, I'd probably put her ahead of Nancy. Probably now I think about it.
You could arguably put her ahead of Laurie, really.
Yeah, just for the badassery.
Yeah, exactly.
Just for that alone. I just love how this movie plays out. It's got just the right amount of humor, of comic relief. It's got really good action sequences. It's got really good suspenseful sequences. The aliens look great. There's tons of them instead of just the one, like in the original. I love this movie. I think most fans, even that like Alien more than this one, acknowledge like they love this one too. It's not that they don't.
Yeah.
This movie's fucking badass, dude. Like
it is. It's super bad.
If everybody wants, if you've never seen the director's cut, it's been on HBO for a while, and it is on HBO. James Cameron's director's cut of this. Fuck, it's a lot of fun, dude. Yeah, I love this movie. You're a big fan of this franchise and this movie, right?
I love the first 2 movies very much.
Sure.
I actually even like Alien 3. I know it's a super flawed movie.
Studio fuck that movie.
Yeah, but there's no way that was David Fincher's fault. That's I think Alien 3 but I do not care much for Alien 4.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Where she's Ripley's shooting hoops and shit. Nah.
Yeah, is that one called Resurrection 2?
It is.
Oh my god, what is
Resurrection.
wrong with the Resurrection title?
It's the Alien Resurrection.
Yeah, but I do like. I really like Prometheus, and I actually like Alien Covenant too.
See, I did not really like Prometheus.
Really? Okay, that's fair.
Here's the problem with me for that movie, and I love Ridley Scott, but I do, but I just thought it was way too dry, man. It was super dry.
I can understand that. It's definitely a slow burn.
My god, it
really takes a long time.
I did not like the pacing of that movie at all.
I can understand that. Yeah, I can.
I didn't think it was dog shit. The movie looks fucking amazing. My
it's
God,
gorgeous.
Jesus Christ! It looks incredible. But Covenant was just, it was okay. It was all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great pick. That's that full disclosure. That's
surprised you?
An honorable mention. No, it didn't because it's an honorable mention for me.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, Aliens is
awesome.
honorable mention for you?
Yeah, hell yeah.
You can't stand James Cameron, so that's perfect.
I do not like James Cameron as a person, but he's a fantastic filmmaker.
I like him.
Yeah, you guys are buddies.
Dude, Jake Cam? Are you kidding me?
Me and Jake Cams go way back.
Dude, fucking
funny.
Jimbo. Come on, Jimbo. It's my boy.
Oh man, that's funny. Okay,
I could argue he directed two of the best science fiction sequels of all time.
Yes, that's funny because I can't stand Terminator 2.
I'll never understand how that's possible. That blows my mind more than you're somewhat that surprises me more than Texas Chainsaw. It does.
See, I don't know that. Most people absolutely adore E2.
I think it's the best sequel ever.
There's a lot of people that say it's even better than the original. And
it is.
I wish I could. I fucking.
No, I love the original.
I fucking hate Edward Furlong in that movie so much.
See, he doesn't really bug me too much.
Irritates the shit out of me.
I could see how he'd be irritated, but honestly, the fact that he's irritating you tells me he did a good job, though, because his character is fucking.
You're supposed to be irritated by this kid for 2.5 hours.
Well, I mean, for me,
I wanted Robert Patrick to catch him so bad in that movie.
My opinion, I could only see him being irritating for the first half of the movie. Once they meet up with Mom, he kind of, I think things started to straighten out for him. I think his performance was bad. Dude, I really do not. Honestly, I disagree. I think he's more than fine in that.
I know. Like I said, I know I'm in the minority.
Honestly, I totally buy Edward Furlong in that movie. I really do. And not that I'm some like big Edward Furlong fan. I mean, I like Detroit Rock City. That's another movie of his.
Detroit Rock City is a pretty badass movie.
Yeah. That Crow sequel he did can fuck off. Talk about a piece of shit. That should be on this list, our bottom list. That's a piece of shit. I can't remember. Was that Crow 3? Which one was that?
I think it was 3. It was the one with Kirsten Dunst in it, right?
Yeah. How the fuck why was she in this movie?
I don't know how they got her to play in that either. Soundtrack's really good though.
Yeah,
soundtrack is really good to that.
Yeah. No, that's funny. Aliens was your
Aliens is my honorable mentions.
What do you got at number 3, bud?
Well, that was my. We already talked about my number 3.
Oh yeah, number 2. I'm sorry, number 2.
Number 2. Friday the 13th, Part 6.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
really?
And, yeah, I know it's not my favorite one in the franchise, but I have to give it a bump. Okay, because while viewing preference is definitely a part of it, I have to give this a bump. And here's my bump. This movie.
Hold on, real quick. It's my number 2 as well. But go ahead. It's my number 2 as well.
Oh no shit! Oh, that's great. We can just wrap both those up. That's awesome.
Now go. Right. You have the floor. Sorry.
Yeah. Here's why I give it the bump. It saved the fucking franchise. Completely saved it. Friday 5 is a fucking shit show. All right. That movie's not good. All right? I know a lot of people love Roy, and a very efficient killer, but there's not a lot of good in Friday 5. It's a pretty bad movie. No. And for all intents and purposes, that franchise should have been fucking dead after this. But Tom McLaughlin, that's the guy's name, right? The guy, director. He recognized the potential in the franchise if they just embraced the tongue-in-cheek nature and made Jason the focal point of the franchise.
Right.
And from here on, we get some of the best Jason work and some of the best kills that the franchise has. Yeah. And so for that, I give it a big bump because that, and we get the definitive Tommy Jarvis.
Yep.
He's not
he's favorite.
Not some WWE superstar.
Yep.
He's a flawed hero, but he's still heroic nonetheless. Because while he may be responsible for bringing Jason back, he's also responsible for putting him back in the grave too. You know, he doesn't just say, "Well, that didn't work out," and then just go home.
You know, a good dozen people lost their life or more, or whatever the body count is, but it's fine. He ends up finishing the job. No,
he didn't. But he didn't punk out. You know, like I said, he didn't just say, "Oh well, you know, that plan didn't work. Guess I'm just gonna go home, go back to work." You know, he sticks it through. He sees it through like a hero, and he ends up coming through. So yeah, that's why I give Friday the 13th just a slight edge. Like I said, it's not. I prefer 4 as it's a
final
watch.
chapter's your favorite.
It's 4 is my part 4 is my favorite in the franchise. My favorite Friday the 13th movie. Period. Yeah. But I'm gonna give F-13 6 just a slight bump because of what it did and what it accomplished.
Yes.
There you go.
It's my number 2 as well. It is my favorite.
I know
Friday.
you're number 1, and it's awesome. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
sorry. Continue.
It's my favorite. I mean, it's my favorite Friday movie without a doubt. For a lot of reasons. Some of the reasons you said, it did help. It brought the franchise back from the dead. Thank goodness.
Thank God.
Damn, man, they tried. They tried to bury Jason, but fuck. But I just love the tone of this movie. All right, and it's a little meta too. It's more. It's very self-aware, and I think that kind of stuff is clever. I think it's intelligent storytelling. I do. It brings levity. It brings levity and realism to your movies. Sometimes if a movie takes itself too seriously, you lose realism. You lose the realism. I mean, for God's sakes, this is the 6th entry in a slasher franchise. Let's stop taking ourselves too seriously. Like even part 5, which is we just talked about it a couple weeks ago. You know how I feel about that movie. I'm not a big fan of it. That movie takes itself seriously. As crazy as that sounds, it kind of does. Yeah.
Dude, they kill a guy in a shit box and they still taking it serious.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm. So the fact that Tom McLaughlin had this vision of not taking it too seriously and having this self-aware approach and the self-aware tone. I mean, do they even break the fourth wall in this movie?
Yeah.
I mean, I love that. I love CJ Graham as Jason. He's one of the best Jasons in the franchise.
Yeah, damn good Jason.
It's a shame even though we did get Kane in part 7, it is a shame that CJ only got to play him once. Because CJ looked great. He looked great in the outfit. And I saw him at Days of the Dead last year, man. That motherfucker still kicked my ass. He's in good shape, man. Jesus Christ. He's still a beast. But yeah, it's my favorite in the franchise. One day we'll talk about it, and I look forward to that day. But it's definitely, I can watch this movie over and over and over. I probably, no bullshit, dude. I probably pop this movie on once every couple months.
Hell yeah, man.
I do.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite. I think this is the perfect Friday the 13th movie.
I like it.
That's number 2, baby. I'm stunned. I thought when you started to say Friday the 13th, I thought you were definitely saying Final Chapter.
Yeah, I knew that would surprise you when I wrote my list down. I was like, this is gonna surprise Andy.
That would throw me. That threw me off. All right, who you got at number 1, brother?
I think because I know what you have.
We have the same one, huh?
We do. My number 1 sequel is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3.
Dream Warriors. Yeah, that is my number,
man.
That is my number 1 as well. Tell me why it's your number 1, dude.
Because how do you, this might be the best in the franchise. As good as number 1 is, and I genuinely, number 1 is
a lot of Nightmare fans feel that way. A lot of Nightmare fans have this their favorite.
And I can't get mad at anybody for saying that because of how great this is.
It's a fun movie.
They also not to even mention that they had to do something after part 2. I mean, because at the time, while part 2 is kind of beloved now, when 2 came out, people didn't really jive with that movie at all. No. You know, so but they righted the ship super quick. They brought Wes back on board, who he wrote a treatment for it.
Yeah.
And then Frank Darabont, I believe, actually wrote the whole script, right?
Yep.
And I want to say, did Rennie Harlan direct this movie?
No, Rennie Harlan directed part 4. Rennie Harlan
and
directed
this one was
Remaster.
Chuck Russell directed this one, right?
Yeah, Chuck Russell,
Yeah.
who also directed The Mask with Jim Carrey. He directed, I believe, The Sixth Day with Schwarzenegger, or was it the other one? I think it was The Sixth Day. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was The Sixth Day. I think he directed Murder at 1600. I'll say off the top of my head.
He's done some good shit.
Yeah, he's done
The
some good
Mask
shit.
made a shit ton of money,
competent.
man.
Yeah, a competent movie. But yeah, they do everything right for this sequel. They bring back familiarity in the form of Nancy, and they brought back her dad, played by John Saxon, passed recently. They introduce characters that we can get behind, that we care about, and they expand a little bit on the mythology of the character. They expand a little bit on the origin and the creation of the character of our antagonist, the villain Freddy, and then they tell a really good story. And it's easy to really root for these kids, and it's such a good, competent, fun, awesome watch. It is to me. This is the definitive way to make a horror movie sequel. It's the blueprint. This is the blueprint right here.
This is exactly when we said it back. We talked about this in episode 27, Dream Warriors, and it's so true. And we said it then, and we'll say it again now. This is, if you're going to make a sequel, this is the blueprint to do so. And the idea is to continue on with continuity with characters we love and know, and introduce us to new characters that we can love and know. And that is exactly what this movie hits out of the motherfucking park, bro.
Exactly.
I will say this. If you take any type of horror movie that has like a group of kids, right? And like a slasher, like, like the kids in Scream, so on and so forth. Just the characters, like the young characters, the group of young characters in a slasher movie is what I'm saying. This has one of the best set of young characters in any slasher movie. One of the best. I love the kids in this. They're all fucking great. From the Wizard Master to Kincaid to Kristen. I love this movie. I mean, this is, you nailed it. I mean, this is, and we talked about it back in episode 27. This is what sequels should try to do. Like Jason Goes to Hell did the opposite of this. And that's why Jason Goes to Hell sucks my left nut, because it did the complete opposite of what Dream Warriors did. And that's why it works. That's why Dream Warriors is so fucking, and not to mention, I mean, it's a really good script. It's well directed. You have a good cast. Robert Englund. This is where Robert Englund, in my opinion, goes full fucking horror icon. He gets way more dialogue, which was very smart. They give him a lot more dialogue. This is where he goes horror rock star. I mean, this is it. This is it. This springboarded him into super pop culture stardom.
There you go.
This is it. So yeah, it's an easy for me. This is my favorite. This is my personal favorite sequel of all time. It's funny because it's my favorite sequel, and my favorite horror movie of all time is the original Nightmare. So and I have two Nightmares on this list. If you guys can tell, I really enjoy the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. And I keep saying it's not my favorite as a whole either, but it might be. I guess it kind of is. It might be. I don't know. It's between this and Friday for me, but
yeah. How many honorable mentions do you have for your best?
I have 3. Name the one. Halloween 2018. And then also I have Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead. Now that is one that when I hear horror sequels brought up, there's 3 that I always see people say that are their favorites for the most part. That come up the 3 that come up the most I see are Dream Warriors, in no particular order, but Dream Warriors, Evil Dead 2, and Dawn of the Dead. the special effects in this are, I mean, the gore effects in this are fucking like dude, it evolutionized everything. Like it's really good. I mean, this is one of the, I mean, this is a case where, in my opinion, is better than the original. The sequel is better than the original. I mean, Night of the Living Dead came out, and it was a different time. So you got to kind of see Night of the Living Dead elevated in this, and God, do they ever? You like Dawn of the Dead, right?
I love Dawn of the Dead. I agree. I think this is the best one in the franchise.
Yeah, I do too. I do as well. And my third honorable mention was Child's Play 2. Just because I just really you even like that's another franchise where people like the second one better than the first. A lot of people do. They do. I think it's like a dead it's almost like a dead stalemate for me, the 1 and 2, because they're completely kind of different but also the same. But yeah, Child's Play 2 was my other honorable mention. Do you have another one? Do you have
I have 3. I have Aliens, Child's Play 2, and I have Hellraiser 2, because
nice.
For Hellraiser 2, like that movie actually starts out better than the first one.
It does.
It's actually
and we're going to talk about the
movie. Yeah, we're going to have to talk about it one of these days. Yeah. It kind of falls apart near the
final act.
Of the movie,
it's
final
a
act
shame. Yeah, it's too bad.
Because for the first probably 2 acts of that movie, it's actually better than the original.
Oh gosh,
third act.
And what's her face? Like God, what's her name? The lady, the
villain. I can't. I don't have.
Oh my gosh, my brain's hurting. But anyway, she's real. The when she's skinless, my goodness, it looks even better than the original.
Yeah,
and
it's fantastic.
Way better than Frank. She's a way better antagonist than Frank. Like without a doubt. I mean,
100%. Yeah. I agree completely. That's what that's like why it's so much better, because she's captivating. Like she's fantastic.
Yeah, it's good. I like Hellraiser too.
Yeah.
It's a shame that it kind of falls apart in the final act, but
yeah. All right, so that's our best list. All right, I'm excited now. Here's where we get to the real meat of the episode.
We had the same top 2. That's funny.
That's hilarious. That's absolutely hilarious.
That's so funny. The bottom 5. This
was the hardest portion. This was the hardest portion for me.
Yeah,
I switched around my 5 movies so fucking much.
Really. I struggle with my top 5 more. I struggle with my top 5 more.
Really,
my first one was locked in, but 2 through 5 and my top, I had trouble deciding. I love them all. I love them.
Yeah. All right. Well, you start. Let's go ahead and have you kick off. Go. What's your number 5?
That piece of shit that we just talked about on Monday, Halloween Resurrection. Fuck that movie. Halloween Resurrection coming in at number 5. I mean, we literally just talked about this 2 days ago on Monday's episode. I'm sure most of you guys have listened to that already. You know how I feel about that, everything I had to say, but I'll just reiterate a little bit. It's just a terrible fucking story, dude. I mean, like the script's absolutely, it's just not a good script for a Halloween sequel, in my opinion. I guess there was a way that they could have made it good, but I tell you, they didn't. They didn't execute it. I mean, but again, I don't know how you make that script good. I don't. There's really not much to it. Like, again, we're just sitting around waiting for Michael just to kill everybody, and when he does, we don't really give a shit because we don't care about these characters.
Yeah,
we don't give a shit. Like, literally, when anyone dies in this movie, I really don't give a shit. So, to me, this is the worst in the Halloween franchise. I feel bad that I couldn't get a Halloween sequel in my top 5, but again, that comes back to me saying that the Halloween franchise as a whole is not as top heavy as people think. It's not.
Yeah, I agree. We've already discussed that.
Yeah.
The Halloween franchise as a whole really only has a couple of good.
I mean,
and the rest of them are pretty mediocre.
Honestly. And look, I know, and everyone's allowed to like what they like, but in my, for my personal preference, honestly, out of this entire franchise, the ones that I really like and I watch a lot, Part 1, Part 2, Part 4, and 2018. I don't even really care for H2O as much as many people. That movie came out when I was in high school, and I remember digging it, and it had that Scream vibe, and it had that 90s slasher vibe. I know what you did. I heard you scream last summer vibe, fucking bullshit going on. And like, I mean, that movie's just trying so hard to be fucking Scream. And I know
it's also, that's what's wrong with it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you, people, and I'm telling you, I used to like H2O a lot more than I do. I'm telling you, people, that movie has not aged well. I'm telling you.
No, it's not.
It has not aged well. I promise you this. But like, so really out of that franchise, I really, really only love 4 movies in the franchise.
Yeah, that's the same exact way. I'm the same exact way with the same 4.
I will say, I'll add... This might piss you off. I'll add the first Rob Zombie one to the list. I like that one, but I don't watch it a lot. I don't, but I do watch 1, 2, 4, and since 2018's been released, I've watched 2018. I saw it at the theater twice, and I've literally watched it probably 5 times since it's been on.
I've seen that. I've seen that movie a lot.
Yeah,
I've got it downloaded on my phone for when I lose internet at work. If a tower ever goes down, so I can watch it at work.
It is funny to me how people again, it's their opinion, but I really truly don't think people realize how much shit this franchise really has and how bad some of these movies are. It's very top heavy. It's very top heavy. Like 1 and 2 are probably, definitely 2 of the best. We're the top 2 until 2018 for you and I. We put 2018 ahead of part 2, right? So that's
a better sequel.
Yeah, I agree. I enjoy 2018 more in part 2, and that's saying a lot because I just got the Blu-ray of part 2. Came with them Amazon. I don't know, it's an older one, but whatever. It's the 30th anniversary. Fucking bullshit. It's an older one, but I I don't care. It was $12 on Amazon. I don't care. But the I am baffled. Like a lot of people like even some people like part 5 and part 6. Like they like Revenge and Curse. And God, I'd
love to talk to those people to find out why. You know what I mean? I'd love to have a conversation.
I guess they like that plot. I just didn't like that cult plot line. I thought it was stupid.
No, I didn't either.
It's dumb. The thorn. I have a thorn tattoo. I'm part of a cult this whole time. Get the fuck out of here. Suck my dick. Get out of here with that bullshit. The fuck. And it's funny. It's funny. I'm like one of the biggest Paul Rudd's fan. He's literally one of my favorite comedic actors. He might even currently like new, someone people have come on the scene the last 15, 20 years. He's probably my favorite the last 15, 20 years to come on the scene. He's one of my, I love the dude, but he is absolutely terrible in Curse. He's terrible. He's awful.
I don't think that he had a whole lot to work with.
No, but I mean, even the way he plays it, obviously he was just out of his comfort zone. It was one of his first movies. It might have even been his very first.
I think it was his very first movie ever.
Yeah, and
he was credited as Paul Stephen Rudd.
He had to
change his name.
Yeah, Paul Rudd. You got to get that Stephen out of there. He I think Paul Rudd's a very his comedic timing is just a 10 out of 10. I mean, I'll put his comedic timing and line delivery up against any comedic actor going right now. I really truly mean that. I think he's that good. But that's just a prime example. He even had even though he was very inexperienced at that point, he was very new as his first movie, and he was probably out of his comfort zone because we don't see him doing these type of movies anymore. He's not good in that, dude. He's not at all.
No,
he's terrible.
No.
So I don't know, that whole franchise as a whole. I feel like, and it's weird because the funniest thing is the original Halloween is better than any Nightmare. Probably, well, I like the first Nightmare better, but it's definitely, it's better than any Friday the 13th movie. I'll tell you that. But not even close. It's better than any Child's Play movie. It's just as good in my opinion as Nightmare. I think they're pretty equal for me. You prefer Halloween, I prefer Nightmare. Tomato. They're both
exactly.
They're both great fucking horror films.
Yeah,
you're splitting hairs. So it's just funny to me that the first one's so fucking good, but I think because that first one is so good, people forget how shitty the rest of the series is.
Yeah, you're right. That is exactly why. 100%. All right.
Who you got at number?
My number 5.
Who you got at number 5?
Yeah, my number 5 is Nightmare on Elm Street: The Dream Master.
wait, 4 or the part 4 or 5?
Yeah, part 4. Part 4.
Wait, more than Dream? You mean Dream Child or Dream Master?
No, I mean Dream Master. I have Dream Master. Wow. And now, I think The Dream Child is the worst movie. Yeah. I don't like 4 more though, because of what 4 does. It takes these characters that we absolutely fell in love with from part 3 and immediately kills them to begin the movie.
Oh, you mean they did exactly what they did in Halloween Resurrection? Nice.
Yes. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense why they would do that. I'm flabbergasted. So yet again, they have to introduce us to yet another final girl or hero, whatever, what have you.
Yeah. Alice in this one, it's Alice.
Yeah, this one's Alice. And then she becomes...
She's okay.
And honestly, she's fine. I'm
right.
actually okay with her.
Yeah.
But it's just such a disservice to what they did to part 3. They didn't appreciate the fact that part 3 saved it was still early in the franchise, but they didn't appreciate how good that part 3 was, and they just did away with half of the good they fucking did, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I hate that. It's disrespectful as shit. They disrespectful to their own franchise. And not to mention, it also has one of the absolute worst choreographed fucking kung fu sequences I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Okay, that is the worst single scene in the entire franchise. It is
easily.
It's way worse. Oh my god, dude! It looks terrible. It's ridiculous. The fucking set looks fucking terrible. The dream sequence set, it looks fucking god awful. Not a fan of that one. That scene is so bad. I do like, they make up for it a little bit. Some of the dream sequences in this are actually pretty cool, but I'm kind of with you. I wouldn't put this in my list, but I will say this. I do feel like this is the most overrated Nightmare on Elm Street. People really like this one, and
I don't know why.
I don't get it. I mean, I get it. It's better than, in my opinion, it's better than part 5. Probably better than Freddy's Dead, but actually, I get shit for this. But dude, I find Freddy's Dead more entertaining. I do.
I agree with you. I actually think Freddy's Dead is a better movie than this. I really do.
I mean, at the end of the day, Freddy's Dead is a ridiculous fucking bad movie. They went way too goofy and way too silly and way too Looney Tunes with it. I mean, I acknowledge that and I agree with that. But at the end of the day, the characters in Freddy's Dead, I actually fucking dig. Like Carlos and Tracy.
Yeah.
Carlos and Tracy, especially, and they're just supporting players here. But those two characters, they're very interesting. They both don't have the best backgrounds or came from the wrong side of the track. Yeah. They're intriguing characters. There's really good character development with all these characters in Freddy's Dead, which that movie gets no credit for that whatsoever, but whatever. If you stack up the Dream Master players against Freddy's Dead players and characters, I think Freddy's Dead are better. I do.
I think here's what I think. If they never would have incorporated the 3D element to that movie, people would not talk as much shit about it as they.
You're probably right,
because I think that people get hung up on the 3D gimmick at the final act, and they focus on how kind of cheesy that was.
Yes,
and I think that they let that bring the reputation of the movie down.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. And there's some other things too. Like in the very beginning, he's on a broom and he says, I'll get you, my pretty, and your little soul too. Like it's why they decided to go that comedic of a tone. Like even Rachel Talalay, who directed this, and actually, I actually like that story. She had worked for New Line since the first First Nightmare, and she literally went from essentially fucking PA to director. I mean, which is fucking amazing. A really cool story, and good for her. And she's turned into a TV director. She's directed a lot of TV stuff, so good for her. Yeah. She's even self-admitted. I wish we would have brought that back a little bit, tailored that back, the comedic. Why she kind of does regret that, and I don't blame her. If the comedic bullshit in Freddy's Dead was just toned down a bit, I think a lot more people would like it. But for me, again, I think it comes back to me. I like horror comedies, so therefore I don't dislike Freddy's Dead like a lot of people. I really don't. To me, like, honestly, I'm sitting there laughing a lot during Freddy's Dead. There's some funny shit when Carlos is lost in the map in the van and it says you're fucked, and he turns in and goes, well, the map says we're fucked. Like, that's fucking funny.
That's super funny.
It's super funny. So there's a lot of that in that. So that's probably why I enjoy it. But I completely understand why people think Freddy's Dead is a piece of shit. I completely get it. It's not a good movie. It's not.
No.
But back to Dream Master, I do. I feel Dream Master is the most overrated in this series. I don't think it's bad. Like, I don't think it's a piece of shit, but it's definitely overrated in my opinion. It's completely overrated.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, honestly, I watch part 2 over part 4. I do.
Oh, I would too.
I do. It's more, again, I would rather watch Mark Patton bump his ass against his dresser drawer than watch that fucking jackass fucking doing kung fu at the air. Like, get the fuck out of here.
I'm telling you, man, I agree with you. It's the worst scene in the entire franchise.
That's undebatable. We had a little Twitter thread going the other day. When I said that, no one acknowledged that in that thread because they know it's true. They know
you can't defend that fucking scene.
Yeah, they know it's terrible. Dude, the director, I think it was Rennie Harlan, or I think it was
it was Rennie Harlan. Yeah,
Rennie Harlan. I remember him talking. He's like, "Oh God, that fucking scene." And when he's talking about it, in the Nightmare documentary, the Never Sleep Again, it's kind of funny because he hates that scene too. You know, I guess they had to like reshoot something. I don't know what happened, but why even have the fucking oh my God. So bad.
I would have rewrote that whole fucking sequence.
I'm very surprised you said. I thought you just misspoke. I thought you were going to say Dream Child, and you're like Dream. I'm like, really?
Dream Child. I recognize that Dream Child is definitely a worse movie, but I would rather watch that than this. That's not saying much because I won't watch typically either one of them.
Probably that's the only part I disagree with you on. I would rather watch Dream Master than Dream Child.
That's fine. Yeah. I don't like these really. But no.
But at the same token, though, I get where you're coming from because I've said for years that Dream Master is by far for me the most overrated in the franchise.
It is. I know it was very successful. I mean, it was. But I can't forgive it for what it did to part 3. I just can't, man. I have a hard time forgiving that. So I don't know. That's just me, though, man. All right, we've talked about that enough. Let's go on to your number 4, buddy.
Okay, this one I think a lot of people don't think about this one. And this movie, this came out when I was in high school, and I was super hyped for this movie. And God, was I so disappointed because it is a piece of shit to one of the best fucking werewolf movies of all time. I put number 4. I have American Werewolf in Paris.
Oh my God, that's not my number 4, but that's an honorable mention for me.
Dude, this movie's bad. This movie is bad. For a lot. I mean, across the board, bad. It was just a hot mess. Funny story about this movie. I saw this with a girl I dated in high school. Her name was Kim. I believe she was a grade above me. I believe it was my sophomore year, and she was a junior.
I remember you telling me this story.
Yeah, this is a funny story. So I was I was super hyped to watch this, and she wanted me to come over and watch a movie, and I had literally just went to my dad's video store and grabbed this to watch. And I'm like, well, I actually just went to the video store and I have this movie. It's American Werewolf in Paris. I don't know if you're a big horror fan. She's like, oh yeah, bring it. She didn't care. She just wanted to hang out. Kim, right. I love you. I hope you're good. We're still friends. I hope you're good, Kim. So we get there and we're watching this piece of shit. Well, not only am I watching with Kim, I'm watching her mom sitting right in the living room with us watching this piece of shit. And there's like some really fucking bad sex scenes in it and nudity. And it's just, my God. And the fact that I sat there with a girlfriend in high school and her mom and watched this piece of shit, it's just like, it couldn't have been it was so fitting because it's kind of, you know, like when you're a teenager, like as you become an adult, you're not like nervous to like hang out with your girlfriend or boyfriend's parents. But when you're a teenager, at least I was, I think a lot are, you're a little nervous. And like, I remember like, God, and I remember sitting there going, man, this movie's, I'm like, and I couldn't really, I couldn't complain about the movie like out loud like I wanted to, but I remember thinking in my head, my God, this movie's this is not good. This is bad. And then the sex scenes come on. I'm like, oh my God, it was so fitting. Because another thing that like the original American Werewolf in London, which is another episode we talked about, which was another fun episode. I mean, to me, that's the best werewolf movie of all time. And it has some of the best practical and special effects and makeup effects that you will ever see in horror. And it's saying a lot. I mean, it came out when I was born. It came out in 81 and it was Rick Baker, man, fucking beast. The effects in Paris, my God. Like if you were going to this just tells you how incompetent whoever was, I don't even care who directed or wrote that fucking piece of shit. I don't even care. Not even worth mentioning. But if you're going to do a sequel to American Werewolf in London, what is the one fucking thing that you better get right and focus on that made the original so iconic? What's the one thing?
The transformation scene.
Yeah, the special effects, the makeup effects. Yeah. You better fucking nail the practical and makeup effects. Oh my God, they're terrible.
They're terrible.
It's dry. The story's bad. The acting's just whatever. It's just shit show. Yeah, a lot of people, and I feel like a lot of people haven't seen this movie. And honestly, keep it that way.
Yeah, keep it that way. Do not. It's not even worth
watching. Like, dude, like we all can watch a bad movie and enjoy it. Like I can watch Jaws of Revenge and laugh my ass off. I'll grab a joint, spark up, and watch me some fucking big ass shark take revenge against the Brody family and swim from New York to the Bahamas. Fuck it. That's exciting. That's funny because it's so bad. It's funny. This movie's just fucking it's so frustrating because of how good the original is and was. That's why it's so fucking frustrating. Oh my God. You've seen Paris, right?
Yeah, I went to the fucking movie theater to see this piece of shit. God. I was actually I was engaged at the time, I believe. My fiance and I went to go see this movie theater, and I didn't. Of course, it was bad. I didn't like it, and she had never seen the original. So based on that, she didn't even want to fucking watch the first one.
Oh my God! That's what I'm saying.
I wasn't mad at her. Dude. So we actually stopped by on the way home and at this 24-hour video store and rented the original and watched it when we got home. And she was like, "Well, why wasn't the new one like that?" Dude,
I mean, like the new one came out a decade and a half later or whatever it was. I mean, literally 15, 16 years later. I think Paris came out in 90. If I was a sophomore,
I think it came out in 97, 98. 98, yeah.
Because I was a sophomore. It might have been it could have even been the summer going into my junior year. I'm not sure. I can't remember, but I was definitely 16. But like, that's the thing too. Like, talk about like younger people like my age that like Kim. I'm not sure if Kim had seen the original. I don't remember, but I'm going to guess a lot of people like I went to high school with that doesn't watch horror movies didn't watch American Werewolf in London and have no idea what a fucking brilliant piece of cinema it is. And then they see this, they're never going to want to watch the original.
No.
This thing just fucking shits all over the, like, why did they even make this piece of shit? Yeah, it's terrible. Actually, if you've never seen American Werewolf in Paris and it's free somewhere to stream your subscription and it's ever free, just watch it and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Literally the only thing good about it is there's the soundtrack is pretty good. That's it.
It is.
But it doesn't fit in the movie. Most of the songs are, and the movie has an imbalance to its tone, and it because it's trying to balance the comedic elements and the horror elements that the first one did, and it's trying to incorporate all of that, and you can tell it's being done by inexperienced filmmakers because it's got a bizarre tone to it.
It's so weird.
Really fucking bad. And it's not to say terrible. Like Thomas Everett Scott is a likable guy.
Dude, and he's actually not terrible in this.
But
I like Thomas. He's a good actor, and this was
he's not terrible. And honestly,
this is only his second feature.
Yeah, I do too.
He did that Thing You Do, the Tom Hanks directed film, like a year before this. So this was his second feature film, and he's actually not bad. He's a good actor.
He's not bad.
No.
And Julie Delpy isn't terrible in it either, honestly. Like, she's all right.
She's not. And she's cute. She's cute. She's
a good actress.
I mean, that character is supposed to be portrayed as super sexy, and she is. She's very sexy.
Yeah,
but even the story of this, where it's like this underground, like, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but fuck it. It's a piece of shit anyway. It's like this underground werewolf fucking, like, village.
Rave club thing, yeah. Really bizarre, man. It's fucking...
and the way they connected to the first was the werewolf that attacked them in the first one was from that cult or club or whatever. Mm-hmm. They connect that in this. Yeah, dude, fuck this movie. My God.
Yeah, it's really bad. All right, man. That's a good choice. All right, man. What's your number? Wait, it's mine.
Number 3, right? Yeah. Or no, number 4, because I went first.
It's my number 4. Yeah, okay, it's my number 4.
Yeah.
My number 4 is a movie that I finally watched for the first time yesterday, and it had to make my list. Hellraiser Revelations.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's fucking awful. Okay, this caused me to tweet. Watching this and the other movie that I watched. I watched this and I watched Hellraiser Judgment. Both of them turds. This one is less firm than Judgment, though. So this one made the list. I haven't seen all of them. I haven't seen all of them. So I almost felt like I shouldn't put it on the list, but no, it's bad enough. It's got to be on there. So what I feel like poor Pinhead, man. He got done dirty, dude. Like Dimension just really did the Pinhead character just disrespectful as fuck. I feel like this was never a Hellraiser script, and they just made it one.
Do you know what's ironic about that?
What?
This is actually the first Hellraiser script that was written to be a Hellraiser script since part 4, I believe.
Really? Oh my God, it doesn't feel like it at all. It doesn't.
I know.
It feels like they just took like a generic pseudo home invasion movie and then just fucking forced Hellraiser, forced the Pinhead character in. It's so bad. It's
terrible.
It's got the worst looking Pinhead I've ever seen in my life. He looks like a guy that showed up at a fucking horror convention in a half-assed decent Pinhead costume.
Dude, I have literally seen. Dude, one thing that I miss most about living in West Hollywood is Halloween, because West Hollywood has honestly one of the best Halloween celebrations, not only in this country, in the entire fucking world. They literally shut down 2.5 miles of Santa Monica Boulevard, which is just insanity. And literally there's 500,000 people just fucking flooded down on Santa Monica Boulevard. And the costumes are just incredible. I mean, just you see so many. And what I'm getting at is I've seen probably 1,000 costumes in all those Halloweens I spent in West Hollywood that are better than this fucking Pinhead design. This is fucking terrible. This is like a really bad cosplay of Pinhead.
It is. It's a bad cosplay. Yeah. Ugh.
So
oh
bad.
My god, it's and the story sucks. The story's fucking terrible.
Terrible. They wrote. I read up some shit on this. Like the main lead young kid actor in this. Forget his name. Forgive me. I forget his name. But
character's name was.
Yeah, he literally said that he's ashamed. Like this is the one movie he's ashamed of, and that like literally a lot of the scenes were written that day.
That doesn't surprise me.
The day that they shot him, a lot of that found footage stuff in the beginning, they shot that like way after this movie wrapped. Like they just added that on to it. Like it wasn't even part of the story originally. Like they added all that shit on.
The fucking movie's only an hour and like
I know
12 minutes long or some shit like that. Like
it's bad.
And, so the fact that they even.
Yeah. God. Spoiler alert, this one's on my list, but we got a ways to get to it.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move on then. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation.
I love you. That's my number 3.
Let's go.
Fuck yeah.
This movie. Yeah, this. We'll have to talk. Well, actually, we'll talk about this shit in the middle of October next. Or no, that won't be the third one. No, we'll a couple. Who knows? We'll talk about it someday. I keep thinking this is the third one. It's not. This one is now because of Matt McConaughey's like just ridiculous overacting, and that, I am not taking shots at Matt McConaughey. He's one of my favorite actors. Truth be told, he's really a great actor. Fan. I love him. I think he really commands the screen. He's really talented. But fuck, he just goes so over the top in this. And I don't know, Kim Hinkle and no one on set fucking tried to reel him in. Apparently, he gave him what they wanted.
Yeah,
I don't know, but because of that, I can actually watch this movie and laugh. That's the only thing that saves this movie and makes it somewhat watchable. Is Matt McConaughey's just severe overacting in this. It's ridiculous. But, overall, like from a technical standpoint and just across the board, oh, God, this is a piece of shit. It's terrible. Yeah,
it's awful.
It's terrible. I mean,
it's bad when somebody's agent is trying to keep you from releasing it.
It's so...
Because that's what they tried to do. Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. You literally have 2 Oscar winners in this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your 2 leads are fucking Oscar would go on to win Oscars. I think she's got Renee Zellweger. I think she's got 2, doesn't she? Or does she have one?
I think she's got
2.
1.
No, I think
she's got 1 win for Best Actress and 1 for supporting. So
so she's got 2 Oscars. Yeah, and Matt won for Dallas Buyers Club, so he's got his. Well deserved. God, what a performance!
Oh yeah.
But like, you'd think that you had the original screenwriter step into the director's chair and also write the script, and you got a young Texan actors who are both Texans in Matt McConaughey and Renee Zellweger. You'd think that this probably was the one that was going to reinvigorate the franchise, and my God, did they fucking blow it? It's terrible.
Now, to be fair, though, it's not like the Chainsaw franchise worth a shit after part 2 anyway. Because 3's bad, this is bad. I mean, and then it got rebooted. And then a prequel, and then a bad prequel, and then another bad. I mean, it's not a good franchise to begin with anyway.
No, it's not.
Honestly, there could be an argument made that this is actually decent compared to some of those. I mean, it could be,
Yeah. But
I found things that I liked in 3 more because 3 has Ken Foree in it, and Viggo Mortensen. So I mean, there's stuff to like in part 3. And yeah, man, oof, bad movie, bro.
we both have it at number 3, huh?
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's funny as hell. So,
wow.
Well, go ahead and hit me with your number 2 then.
Number 2, this might surprise you that I have it at number 2, but I have it at number 2. I had to be fair, but it's still a piece of shit, and it's the movie I hate more than any movie on the planet.
Wow, that is so funny.
ever created, and that would be Jason Goes to Hell.
That is crazy. That's my number 2.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I thought for sure you were going to have that at number 1.
No, I got it at number 2. I do not like this movie. I believe it was episode 9. I rant for nearly 2 hours about why I don't like this movie, and I state a very good case. I've never been a fan. I hate that they abandon. I hate that so much. They deviate so much that they add so much mythology and. Like, dude, I like added mythology. Dream Warriors, which is my favorite sequel of all time, added mythology, but they did it in an intelligent way. This thing just throws all this kitchen sink bullshit. Like, just the idea of Jason being a body swapper and possession. Nah, dude. No.
It's terrible.
How this movie ever got off the ground is beyond me. Actually, I know how. Sean wanted to make $1. I get it. But for God's sakes, why? Why in their right mind did they think that Friday fans wanted to see Jason's slug body swap from person to person? What?
Yeah, that's just...
I'll never, as long as I live, Brian, I will never understand how they thought that would appeal to Friday the 13th fans.
I don't either. I don't get it either. It's people at this point were coming to see the franchise because they wanted to see Jason in his iconic look killing people in cool ways.
Yep.
And the first thing they decide to do is get rid of that within 6 minutes of the movie or whatever.
Something like that, 10 minutes, whatever.
He's blown up in the opening sequence. Before the fucking credits even roll, you know, it's just bizarre, and we like I said, we dedicated that whole episode to it.
And if you guys haven't heard that episode, it's one of our favorites. It's one of my favorites for sure. It's a funny episode, and we make a good case, and we know that there's some people out there that respect. They try to do something different and actually have some admiration for this movie, and I respect that. But at the end of the day, I'm not a Marcus fan, and I've grown to dislike Adam Marcus even more from interviews he's done, and not even the interview he did with Riley from Slash and Cast from the Slash and Cast podcast network. I actually did like that interview with him. I liked what he said, and I agree with a lot of things he said. However, he did some past interviews years ago since Jason Goes to Hell, and all you hear from this guy is just excuses. Excuses. Pointing the finger here, pointing the finger there, not taking accountability. Like, dude, you directed and wrote the script. Take fucking accountability, bro. Your movie, I'm sorry. It was a terrible idea. It's a terrible story that should have never got off the ground or greenlit in the first place. Yeah. So, and at the same time, I can't get too mad at Adam Marcus because I didn't hire him. Sean did. And that was obviously a huge mistake. And Sean didn't give a fuck. Sean don't give a shit. He don't care. This movie and Jason X proves that Sean Cunningham does not give a fuck about this franchise. Could care less. All he cares about is making money. And I understand it's a business. But at the end of the day, you're making money off us. So at least throw us a bone and give us somewhat of a decent fucking product. For God's sakes. I mean, literally, they made back-to-back movies where Jason body swaps and then Jason goes to space. Get the fuck out of here. God, it makes me so mad. It makes me so mad.
Oh, man. That's why I'm so surprised it's not your number 1. But yeah, I agree. I've got it right there at number 2 also, man. I mean, it doesn't function as a Friday the 13th movie at all.
Nope.
The only saving grace in it is fantastic practical effects, and
yes,
they're fucking wonderful, really.
Yeah,
but
it was Greg Nicotero.
But they wanted to have random people kill people, so it's fucking stupid. And wasn't to the sense that it didn't even feel like a Friday. Didn't you say, or was it you that said that that fucking wood sequence was a reshoot?
So yeah, I mentioned this in the prior episode.
Yeah, the one sequence that even feels like a Friday the 13th movie was a fucking post-production reshoot.
So they added that scene because they wanted a number one. They added that scene. They're like, fuck, we have nothing by the camp.
Yeah. Who?
Huh?
What camp? What camp?
Wait, camp.
What are you talking about?
Wait,
what camp?
Hey, Sean. Yo, Adam. I was watching the dailies. I just watched this final cut. We got to get more stuff by the camp. There's nothing by the camp.
Sean, what do you mean the camp?
Camp Crystal Lake. Yeah, the popular one from the other movies. Yeah, that one. Let's get everyone together. Let's go read out. We need another kill anyway. So let's go out and shoot this and do this last kill by the camp. Perfect. That way people can't say that we didn't go to Crystal Lake. Without that reshoot and that added scene, there is not a single thing in this movie to do with Crystal Lake.
Right. So fucking bad.
Yeah,
and they had to throw scattered boobies in them too.
This movie. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no. That's it. That was my point. Yeah, they just had to throw some scattered boobies in the movie, and that's it.
I mean, this movie is a disgrace to this franchise. It's insulting to fans. It's insulting. And again, if you like this movie, I am in no way tearing you down. You are allowed to. We're all allowed to like the movies that we like. But at the end of the day, I really do not understand how a Friday the 13th, a diehard Friday fan, likes this movie. Though I will never understand it. I will never get it. I respect it, but I will never ever fucking understand it.
Yeah, the most common defense you even hear for the movie is like, well, they at least tried something ambitious or tried something different. Dude, and I'm like, you can't pay your bills with good intention.
No,
so
exactly. Dude, this movie literally feels like instead of feeling like Friday Part 9, it feels like The Hidden 2.
It does. That's crazy.
I hate this movie so much. And that was your number 2, huh?
That was my number 2 as well, yeah.
Fuck, my number 1, and I put this number 1 just because it's the truth. This is just a worse film than Jason Goes to Hell, and that's God. After that rant, I just went on, and that rant I went on for almost 2 hours last year about Jason Goes to Hell. But my number 1 is Hellraiser Revelations.
That's great. Yeah, that's so funny.
Wow. Yeah, this movie is a modern day. You remember in the Scream episode when we talked about like that slew of just garbage in the first half decade of the 90s, starting like the late 80s through the Watcher 4, starring Mark Hamill, by the way.
Happy birthday, Mark. It was
happy belated birthday, buddy. House 4, Puppet Master 6, Pumpkinhead 2. Have you ever seen Pumpkinhead 2 Blood Wings? My God.
I've seen it. I have definitely seen it.
Next year, for God's sakes.
It's on my honorable mentions.
That was directed by the great Jeff Burr, too, I believe, who also directed Texas 3 and Stepfather 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's directed by Jeff Burr, I'm pretty sure. But Revelations reminds me of that. And you didn't really, in like modern day, you haven't seen a lot of that because people stopped doing it because people stopped buying it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like a shitty fucking just direct-to-video sequel that we just fucking shit out that fucking we don't give a fuck about. You don't really see that much anymore because people aren't going to be tricked. But this one, they weren't even trying to trick anyone. They just had to get this movie done. I think they had to do this movie or they were going to lose the rights, I believe. And which is Dimension. And God damn it. Fuck them. Who owns the rights now? I don't think they do anymore. Someone else. Actually,
I don't think.
Did Clive get him back or something? I
think he might have.
Someone else owns them. I remember reading. I think he might have. But anyway, like this movie is just, dude. Everything in this movie sucks. It looks terrible. My God, dude. Like literally, I'm not even bullshitting, dude. This Thanksgiving in a lot of scenes looks better than this. And that was just some college kids with fucking a couple grand in their pocket out fucking shooting a movie with their friends, for God's sakes. It looks bad. The sound's bad. The acting is god awful. The direction is terrible. The story's terrible. The dialogue's terrible. And the one thing that you would hope that they would get at least somewhat right was Pinhead. And my God, he's just as bad as the acting and all the other shit I just listed.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't even sound good.
Dude, and I know it's not even, dude. His voice is terrible, and I can't even blame the actor. I don't blame the actor. I don't blame him. Some incompetent moron fucking thought he'd be a good Pinhead. Great, perfect, dude. This is literally the worst sequel I have ever seen.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's super fucking bad. Oh man.
Bad. It's garbage. It's just hot garbage. It's like you said, insulting. Like, poor Pinhead, man.
Yeah, he did. They did to him a huge disservice. I think Miramax still owns the.
Do they?
Yeah.
How?
I don't know. Well, they did make a movie in 2008.
That's true. They did.
It was released by Lionsgate.
Oh, maybe they don't have it anymore. Yeah, that was Lionsgate.
Yeah, but they
video distributing. They probably did the
Lionsgate did distribute.
Gotcha.
So, but Miramax still owns it, unfortunately. But yeah, man, I mean, I agree with everything you said. Oh God, it's so bad. And it's funny because I tweeted that I hadn't seen. At the time, but before yesterday, guys, we're recording this on a Saturday. But before the Friday, I hadn't only seen the first 3 Hellraiser movies because just none of them looked good. So I was like, I'm not going to watch them. They look terrible. But I did. I watched Revelations and I watched Judgment. Revelations. Oh boy, is it made me, when I saw those movies, especially this one, I felt like Neo dodging bullets from the fucking Matrix, man. Like, I was like, boy, I really did myself a service by not watching Bloodline through Judgment because I hadn't seen any. Because I mean, Hellraiser 3 wasn't good.
No, it's not. Honestly, the series started to get bad with Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. I don't like that one either. Like,
it's not.
The Cenobites in that are ridiculous. They got the one Cenobite in there's got a camera in his fucking head coming out his eye. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty strange.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't watch any of the other ones. I mean, I remember when Bloodline came out, and I was just like,
dude, they literally jam. They try to jam. Dude, Bloodlines, like, there's literally like 3 plots in that movie. We cover this family from like 18th century France to present day to like 20 or whatever. It's so dumb. Like, why? It's so bad. But what's ironic is, what's funny is you watched Revelations and Judgment. And Judgment's bad. Shout out to my boy Randy Wayne, my old left fielder from my softball team. He's the co-lead in Judgment. Hope you're well, Randy.
Wife poker.
Yeah, that's him. It's so funny. Oh my God. But hey man, Randy was good people, man. I like Randy. What was I gonna say? Oh, you watch those back to back, and what's funny is, like, they're both shit, but what make, like, Revelations is so bad it literally makes Judgment look like Gone with the Wind.
It did, man, because at least there was there was at least a cohesive story in Judgment, and that story, there was a little bit of ambition there too. Yeah, but
for sure.
At the same time,
they're trying in Judgment. They were
trying, yeah. But you're right. Like, it's like fucking. It's 7. Judgment is just movie 7.
Dude,
And
they completely rip off Seven and Judgment. It's hilarious.
It's
dude, they're not even like shy about it. Like they don't give a fuck. They're like, yeah, we're ripping
and
off.
It does
Seven.
have Heather Langenkamp in it.
It does.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I wanted
Judgment
to like
tries.
Judgment.
I will say in the gentleman who plays Pinhead, he's still no Doug Bradley, but I'll tell you
much better.
He's better than that bootleg Pinhead we got in Revelations. My God. My God, dude. For real. Bargain bin bootleg Pinhead. Dude,
Yeah.
It looks terrible. Dude, zoom. Look at the marking. You know how like the markings on his head, like they're like lines, right? You know how Pinhead's got like the line. Dude, those lines, like, dude, on some close-ups, I could literally see like the makeup not rubbed in all the way like it should be.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. And you are right. He sounds
terrible.
Terrible.
Not intimidating at all. I mean, it's
what a shame. Poor Pinhead, dude.
Yeah, dude. I genuinely think that he's been done out of all of like quote unquote horror icons that we have, whether it be Myers. He has gotten the worst treatment by a studio ever. Dude. Easily worse than Leatherface. Easily.
Dude, and look.
It's
Michael,
not even fucking close.
Dude, it's not. And look, it's not like Michael and Freddy and Jason and Chucky didn't get their share of shit in Leatherface. They all got their share of shit. Without a doubt. I mean, they have some shitty movies in their franchise.
Yeah.
But no one got shit on like Pinhead.
No, there hasn't been a good Hellraiser movie in 32 years.
Yep.
That's some fucking epic level failure right there, man. Like that's horrible.
I've been saying it for years. No horror franchise deserves a really good remake or reboot than Hellraiser.
Oh yeah, somebody needs to love this franchise again
for real, because
they clearly don't.
It's a fucking shame too, because at the end of the day, Pinhead is a really fucking cool character. He looks incredible. And Doug Bradley, I loved his fucking voice. He's so good in that role. He's so just so commanding, intimidating, and terrifying. And he looks great. Like, I think I even mentioned this in the Hellraiser episode. I think Pinhead has the coolest design of any of them, to be quite honest.
Yeah, he's awesome looking.
His design is like in part 1 and part 2. God damn, he looks dope. He looks so cool. Like I think that design of his top to bottom, costume to the makeup to his design of his pinned head. Like literally, I think the design's even better than Freddy, Jason, Michael, all of them. I think Pinhead looks cool as shit. But God, poor Pinhead. Yeah, I gotta believe. They've been talking about a reboot of that franchise for like the last year or two.
They moved forward in April of 2020. David Bruckner is supposed to be making something. Ben Collins and Luke Piotrowski are writing a script. HBO is also wanting to develop a Hellraiser TV series.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mike
Doherty is going to be supposed to be working on that.
There's no way that will suck.
No, and David Gordon Green's supposed to direct some of the episodes.
Exactly. It's Doherty and dude. I'm glad that all these young horror filmmakers are fucking teaming up with HBO. Because let's face it, when's the last time HBO really had a show that sucked? I mean, HBO
ever.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think they ever have. I think they've
honestly. I think it's the best. I think
it's
the network that has the best volumes of shows of all time.
I mean, you got shit like The Wire. I mean.
Sopranos,
Sopranos, fuck,
dude, GOTS. I'm not even a Game of Thrones fan, but it's one of the most popular shows of all time.
When is this?
Dude, but I would love to see that. I would love to see
catch that.
Wait, what happened? What'd you say?
What is this you're talking about?
What is this?
Talking about Game of Thrones. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What is this shit? I've never seen one episode. Never seen one episode of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I haven't either. But, actually, I take that back. I watched season 1. It was pretty good. I just couldn't get into it. But it's just, I'm not a big medieval fan. I've shared that before. But I will say that I really do hope that they do something for Pinhead very soon.
Yeah, me too.
He deserves it, and not to mention, it's a really cool character. It's a really cool mythology. The story, the mythology, and the story from the first Hellraiser is fucking awesome. In the second one, and they expand on it in the second one. It's great. Like the original novellas that Clive Barker wrote, they're fucking fantastic. So yeah, I don't know. They better do something because he deserves it. That franchise deserves it, and there are some hardcore fans out of this franchise. They definitely deserve it. Like the pile of shit that they've been fucking spoon fed the last like literally 30 years. It's unbelievable. I just can't. You're right. Like, dude, part 3 sucks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, part 3 is not a good movie. I don't care what people are saying. It's not good.
Not at all.
I remember watching it. I was pretty young though. I mean, but I didn't like it at the age of 15. I think probably watching it. I didn't like it.
It's not good. It's not good. It's really not. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. And that's the one where Pinhead actually gets a ton of dialogue. Like he actually has.
Yeah, he's like the main character in the movie almost. It's
the only redeeming for me. It's the one saving grace of part 3 is that you actually do get you get a big dose of Pinhead, which is good because he's barely in the first one. He's really not in the second one a ton either. So yeah. But yeah, that was fun, dude. The top 5, bottom 5. We got to make this a thing.
Well,
guys.
I haven't talked about my number 1 movie yet, but
oh, you have not? Oh my god, I thought we were done. I'm sorry. Oh my god,
my number 1 is it's probably gonna surprise you. My number 1 least favorite sequel to watch is Jaws 3D.
Dude, that's a good one. I hate that movie.
Yeah,
honestly, that's one of my honorable mentions. It is.
Oh, okay. That's great. Good deal. I'm glad it made somebody's list. Yeah, this is nothing, in my opinion, there's nothing redeeming in this movie whatsoever. It's got bad dialogue, it's got bad acting, it's got bad special effects.
Mm-hmm.
It's got wasted talent because you've got Lou Gossett Jr., a fucking Academy Award nominee. You've got a very young Dennis Quaid. An Academy Award nominee. I mean, and you've got a young Leah Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, this movie should have been a no-brainer, but I feel like they shoehorned this. They shoehorned this generic disaster at SeaWorld script that they had and just threw Jaws in it and call it good.
Mm-hmm. That's what it feels like.
Also consists of what you dubbed, and I can't disagree, the worst shot in the history of cinema.
100%. I'm sorry.
It's so fucking bad.
That shark coming through the glass is the worst. God. Single shot in the history of cinema.
It is so bad. It is
at least that I've seen.
And it's not so bad. The problem with it is that it's not so bad that it's funny to watch.
Right,
it's
like
just
Jaws
so
Revenge.
Bad. Yeah,
because people consider, like, I think a lot of people would put Jaws Revenge somewhere on this list. And we talked about this in both episodes because we've covered both. It's funny, like Jaws is literally one of my favorite all-time movies, but we've talked about Jaws the Revenge and Jaws 3D.
They're so wildly inferior.
Literally one of what I consider a top 10 film of all time. Like, not even like my favorite. Like, just from like a technical level, like I think it's one of the best films ever made. And we've talked about Jaws Revenge and Jaws 3D. But it's funny. I mentioned it in both episodes. Like, I recognize what a piece of shit Jaws the Revenge is. Trust me, it's the most ridiculous plot that actually might be the most ridiculous plot in the history of any type of like horror genre. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's literally about a shark that seeks revenge against a family and swims from New York to the Bahamas to go get them. It's stupid.
Time it's personal.
But this time it's personal. But it's the thing that separates it from me. I think most people are going to say that Jaws is the worst movie, and I don't necessarily disagree. I don't. But I can't watch Jaws 3 because it's so fucking boring.
It's terrible.
It's so bad. At least with Jaws: The Revenge, it has a little bit of action in it, and a little bit, and it's so bad that you literally do laugh at it because the plots are, and you got Michael Caine in it. You know, I like Michael Caine. I like the Hoagie character. Like the Hoagie character is better than any character in Jaws 3.
Yeah.
You know, it's got Mario Van Peebles doing a really shitty Bahamian accent.
Solo.
Yeah, dude. It's
Solo with the Last Starfighter, baby.
Dude, Solo with the Last Starfighter battle the fucking shark.
And Alfred. Solo, the Last Starfighter, and fucking Alfred from Batman.
Dude, it's amazing.
Man, they should have whooped that shark's ass.
You know what's the funniest thing in the world is fucking Lorraine Gary got nominated for both a Saturn, which I don't know how, and a Razzie.
Either.
And a Razzie.
That I get. That I understand. I don't understand that
she's
that
not good in that movie.
Nomination.
But I can watch Jaws: Revenge and have a good time. I do. I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm not. Like I can enjoy a bad movie. I'm a pretty simple person. I don't. I enjoy that. Like I enjoy sometimes watching a shitty movie. Like I enjoy sometimes even watching Seed of Chucky. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. But Jaws 3D. See, if you can't pace a movie, man, and if you're just going to be this fucking bone dry. See that's why I don't hate Freddy's Dead, because there's nothing dry about Freddy's Dead. There's nothing dry about it, right? Jaws 3, it's nothing but dry. The movie is so dry, dude. It just there's no pace to it. There's nothing to it. I can't. Yeah, I that's your number one, huh? I like it.
Yeah,
that's one of my. Yeah. It's one of my honorable mention. That's for sure.
That's great. What other honorable mentions you got?
Let me see. I got my list right here. Oh, the one I just mentioned, Seed of Chucky, is one of them.
Okay.
I acknowledge that is definitely the worst in the franchise. It is, and it's. I really like Don Mancini, and I like that he takes chances, and isn't afraid to try something new and reinvent his franchise, and it's worked several times for him. But I feel he went a little too far with Seed. But at the same time, that movie, I think Seed of Chucky would play a lot better if it was released today than when it was released.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Especially with, there's been a huge trans movement in this country, and it's good. So, socially accepted, they should be. I mean, like there's no, so I think that angle of it attracted the LGBTQ community for sure. I've seen on, I forget what I was watching, but it was a drag queen that was talking about it. It was something. Might have been some kind of documentary about the franchise or something. But the drag queen was talking about how, like, that's just like Nightmare 2, that the gay community really does actually enjoy Seed a lot, and actually the trans community, because it kind of is a trans awareness kind of movie. That's the message in that movie. I just think it got missed by a lot of people. And that's why I do believe that would play better today, but it's still, I acknowledge it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But that's actually the only two I had. That's the only two. I only had two. I had Jaws 3.
I had 4. I had Pumpkinhead 2.
God, that movie's garbage.
Yeah, that movie's terrible. A Werewolf in Paris. Halloween Resurrection is an honorable mention. And
that's right. You didn't have it on the actual list.
Yeah, I didn't quite make my list. It was on there at one point. It was on there until I watched Hellraiser Revelation.
Gotcha.
But then I have Howling 2 also.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a terrible movie.
That's a good one. Oh, wait. I did have a third one. I'm an idiot. Let me pull up my phone. I did. When you said that, Amityville 2 is what I had.
Oh my god, that's a bad movie too.
And Amityville, and actually, like, you could like lump Amityville 2 and Amityville 3D together. Like, they're both equally terrible. But Amityville 2 is really bad, dude. Like, we briefly touched on the sequels in our Amityville episode that we did on the original Amityville horror. But man, that franchise. That franchise might even be worse than Hellraiser.
It could be. Yeah, it very well could be the only.
I'm telling you, they're really bad. They're really bad.
they're really bad. The thing that makes the Hellraiser franchise look like so much worse is because of the massive amount of potential that they have in the character of Pinhead.
Sure.
So, but
agreed.
You could very well be right. I mean, Amityville, that franchise has been treated like fucking dog shit.
Dude, Amityville, like out of time. Like, dude, the Amityville 1990. They ran out of names. They started naming the subtitle of the sequel the year that it came out. For God's sake, Amityville 1992. Like, what the fuck kind of title is that? What is wrong with you? Yeah, I don't know. Fuck the Amityville Curse. Oh my God. Yeah,
bad.
But two and three, and the fact that they're kind of older too. Like, these are like early 80s. The fact that they're like early 80s around that time frame, makes them look even more cheaper and more terrible. It does. It's bad. It's bad. That's why I kind of say that they actually probably do like Amityville 2 and 3 probably does play a lot worse than like Inferno and Hellseeker.
Probably.
Yeah, for sure. You got to see Inferno. You should.
I'm going to have to figure out
honestly
a way to watch it. I can tell you right now, I'm not going to pay to rent it.
No, don't ever. It's really weird.
It's a detective story, right?
Yeah, but it's funny, and the main character is the detective, and he's a real piece of shit.
Okay, that sounds fun.
He's a real piece of, he's a real scumbag. He's a dirty cop and shit. Real womanizer, real scumbag. But the way it plays out, the only issue, like the main issues I have with it is a little dry. Even for a Hellraiser movie, it's pretty fucking dry. That's really its biggest problem. And it's, like I said, it's got a weird tone. You got to watch it. I will say it's funny. Like, it always stood out as like kind of the best out of like the Hellseeker Deader Hellworld bunch.
Yeah.
And it doesn't surprise me because Scott Derrickson directed it. It kind of makes it. I didn't realize that Derrickson directed that until like 3 years ago.
I guess I'm kind of reading a little bit about it while you're telling me about it, and you're right. Yeah, like a lot of people are saying that the worst thing about the movie is the fact that it's called Hellraiser.
Yeah,
it doesn't play out like a Hellraiser movie, and it doesn't feel like when
it doesn't. And the ending's kind of like, really? Okay, fuck. Yeah,
well, that
was one of those that it was an original script that Dimension said, hey, let's take this script and throw in some Cenobites and Pinhead in a little fucking puzzle box, and we'll make a Hellraiser movie.
Fucking James Remar. Love James.
Yeah, no, and it's got
Craig
the
Schaefer?
Cast in that, I'm telling you, the cast and director in that's not bad. Actually, I could argue that one actually has probably the best cast in the series, in the franchise. Honestly,
you might be right. Yeah, I'm looking at
honestly,
like Nick Totoro, Doug Bradley, Craig Schaefer.
Yeah, Nick Totoro's in that bitch too. Yeah,
wow, that's crazy.
I know. Yeah, the lead detective's what's his face? Yeah, I know. Dude, I know the guy from Bones, right?
Craig Schaefer.
Wait. His name. No, it's not the same guy. It's a different guy. Never mind.
It's a different guy. I know
they look very similar, though. They do look similar. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Craig Schaefer played in another Clive Barker movie, though. He played in Nightbreed. Yeah. He's like a bargain bin. Bargain bin David Boreanaz. That sounds like such an insult, but
99, dude, man. Fucking dollar store Pinhead, dude.
Dollar store Pinhead?
Oh, my God.
Oh, man. That's well, this was a fun talk, man. This was a lot of fun.
This was a hell of fun. I enjoyed this episode a lot.
Than I thought we were going to.
How long we been going?
1 hour and 51 minutes. So,
are you serious?
I swear to God. Oh, yeah. All right, guys. that's our bonus episode for you guys. Top 5, bottom 5. I think we're gonna try and do this again.
Dude, I think our rankings episodes from now on, I think this is you cover the best of both worlds. I think
exactly.
This is a cool format to go with rankings. I really do. Unless we're just ranking a franchise, that's different. But like, if you have like a category of something like worst and best, yeah, for sure.
All right.
Good. And guys, do not forget, when you're listening to this episode, this will be tomorrow after this episode drops, the day after this episode drops, the giveaway ends. This is your last day to get in our Twitter giveaway.
Exactly.
Go to our Twitter at Dead and SC Podcast. The link is in the description. The tweet where you can enter the giveaway is pinned to our Twitter profile. You just got to click the Gleam link and follow the instructions and get your entries in. Don't miss out on this, because like we said in the last episode, we really want one of our listeners to win. We don't really want some random fucking hustler on Twitter to win. So please, guys, definitely enter if you have not. We want you to win. Don't feel like, I don't want to take stuff. No, take it. It's our appreciation. We want you to win. So definitely enter if you have not, guys. We appreciate it.
Definitely, guys. All right. With all of that being said, man, hit us up on Facebook and Twitter or something, and let us know what you guys think of some of those. Give us, give us your guys' like couple of sequels you love, couple sequels you hate, something like that. Just start a little discussion on Twitter or something. And thanks for listening. Thanks for all the awesome support, man. You guys really making it worth doing these bonus episodes and just doing the podcast in general, because you guys have been showing a lot of love. So keep up the good work, and we'll keep pumping out the episodes for you guys. Anything you want to add before we dip out?
No, just don't forget next to start off spooky month, we are starting off with Trick or Treat. You can find it streaming on YouTube. Just search Trick or Treat 1986, I believe is the year it came out. You'll find it. It's starring Gene Simmons. Thank you guys as always for the love, man. Good luck in the giveaway. Hope one of our listeners win. My fucking fingers are crossed. It's fucking
right.
I hope you guys are enjoying the podcast and keep giving us feedback. I know Brian's going to get some shit for his fucking Dream Master select. You're going to get
that's
shit.
Fine.
That.
Yeah, that's fine. Bring it on. It can't be any worse than the
honestly,
chainsaw hate.
I'm telling you, I'm kind of glad you put Dream Child was an honorable mention. Dude, oh my God. I did have a bunch. Dream Child was another honorable mention of mine. I didn't even mention it. But at the end of the day, I do feel Dream Master is completely overrated. It's the most overrated franchise. I do. I agree with you, Brian. Well, I don't fully agree. It wouldn't break. I don't think it's one of the worst sequels of all time, but I do think it's overrated as shit. But anyway, thank you guys. Take us out of here, Brian. Guys, thanks a lot for all the love. We're out of here. Take us out.
With all that awesome stuff being said, guys, thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.